Alright, hello, citizens of the Nigelverse. It is Nigel once again, and this is going to be another movie review. So, believe it or not, and this is not the last time I'm going to be saying that for a movie review this year, or even this month, since we are in the final month of the year. We are in the end game, that being December. This is a review that I had put off for a few months. And the reason for that being I just kind of forgot. I'll be honest, I kind of forgot, but nevertheless, here we are. This movie I actually seen in theaters, and I wanted to review it then, and I just forgot. 1 week turned to two, 2 weeks turned to three, and then 3 weeks turned to several. But we are here now. I rewatched it for the sake of the review. I rewatched it because it is now on Disney Plus. But yeah, we're finally gonna get around to it. Yeah. So everybody's favorite Merc with the mouth is back. He is back in Marvel. He's back here in the MCU. But he didn't come alone because he finally brought his smelly, claw wielding friend, and I'm talking about Deadpool and Wolverine. So, of course, as always, I'm not professional movie reviewer or answer or anything like that. Just a man who enjoys a good time, and I definitely had a really, really great time with this movie. This movie was a whole lot of fun. And so, without further ado, let's get right into it. So, if you've seen these reviews of mine before, you kind of know how this works. If you haven't, tell me what I like and dislike about the movie, as well as providing a little bit of a plot summary. Now, this one, the plot for this is kind of like it kind of goes back and forth. It's put in an order where it's concise and makes sense, but otherwise, sometimes do jump back and forth between that. So, we start off in 2018, in where Deadpool slash Wade Wilson uses the time travel device, uses Cable's time traveling device, to stop the death of his girlfriend, and does a bunch of other stuff, and he kills some guy named Ryan Reynolds. But he then finds his way to the sacred timeline, that being code for the MCU. So, so the post credit scene with Deadpool using the time travel device, that was apparently canon, and so canonically, Cable killed baby Hitler. Canonically, Deadpool killed himself and told Wolverine to watch out for Deadpool. And canonically, Vanessa is still alive, and canonically, Peter is still alive as well. So all is right in the world, right? Wrong, because Deadpool is trying to find his place in the world. He's trying to find where he matters, where he fits in, and he hopes to try and join the Avengers. Now, how Deadpool had been, and I believe he had been a member of the Avengers before in the comics, if not kind of as like a satellite member, or in a way. Hey, to the point where even Captain America apparently respected Deadpool, which is very interesting. But hold on to that blurb I just said there, because it's going to be somewhat important for later. But he is unfortunately rejected by the Avengers. Returns to his own universe, his own timeline, what have you, and tries to do what matters. What matters is becoming a used car salesman. Well, we all gotta start somewhere, I guess. But he's retired the Deadpool name. He and Vanessa broke up, so I guess her coming back to life was kind of for nothing. But he's still close with just about everybody except for Cable. Well, Cable nowhere to be found in this movie, so I guess Cable's involvement is just kind of dropped, which does kind of suck. Nevertheless, he does still hang out with Peter and obviously with NTW, with Yukio, with Colossus, etc. So, they kind of hang out. It's Deadpool's birthday, but he is then confronted and captured by the TVA, the Time Variance Authority. He makes a few pegging jokes before they take him out, and they rip off his wig that he has. So yes, the TVA makes their way over. I know they are an entity within the Loki TV show, but admittedly, I'm pretty far behind in the MCU. I can't lie. I'm pretty far. Like I've been watching the movies up until like the Infinity Saga, and then the stuff in the Multiverse Saga I had dipped in and out of, but otherwise I'm pretty far behind. I'm not gonna lie, but but at least this is a nice little introduction. But he meets Mr. Paradox. Explains what the TVA is. His and tells Wade that he can be a part of Earth 616, aka the Sacred Timeline, aka the MCU. Who Wade he makes hooks about Fox and everything, and that he's going to Disneyland, but he's then given a brand spanking new suit. He's fondled a few times as well by the person who suits him up, and I'll save it. I'll save it. I'll hold on to it for or the later part of the review. But Wade learns that his timeline's dying off. He can't save his timeline because his anchor being that kind of holds his universe together dies off. That being Logan, aka the Wolverine. And Mr. Paradox reveals that he wants to use the Time Ripper to pretty much speed up Wade's universe dying. And Wade takes this news very well by breaking Mr. Paradox's nose and stealing the Tempad and trying to resurrect Wolverine. And this is actually they flash back to this. It's about the beginning of the movie. He is where Wade finds Wolverine's corpse, the corpse very dead, hoping he's still alive. So, they managed to repeat, in a way, kind of the joke that they made in Deadpool 2, where they talked about Wolverine dying because at that point Logan had just come out the previous year. They got away with telling the same joke twice, essentially, but this time the TVA soldiers come after her Deadpool, and so I might alternate between Wade and Deadpool. But he then uses Wolverine's bones, all the adamantium bones, to kill off all the TVA soldiers while dancing to Bye 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 in sync. One of the greatest movie openings, to the point where even on like Spotify, and I'll show you, so that's not clickbait because it's actually on my playlist. Don't judge me. It's actually listed as the song from Deadpool 3. It's just a very funny in a way opening, and look at that, told you, no clickbait. There we go. Hang on, let me see. Let me go back into OBS because I do have Wiki open, so you can see on my playlist if it'll focus. There we go. It says from the Deadpool and Wolverine. You gotta focus? Focus? No, maybe I gotta hold it in front of my face. There we go. So it says from the Deadpool and Wolverine soundtrack, but yeah, just a fantastic way. Deadpool kind of like dancing around with it like dancing around to the music, doing the dance moves that he did in the music video. Wow, the 2000s were weird, but nonetheless, Wade kills them off, and he tries to scour the universes looking for a replacement version of Logan, and this is where the fun really begins. Like it was already pretty fun, but this is where the fun really begins, because this is pretty much fan service overload. Deadpool finds several versions of Wolverine, including but not limited to a comic accurate version of Wolverine that's actually short this time around. It took them about 24 years to get a comic accurate Wolverine. A Wolverine that is played by Henry Cavill, which admittedly is pretty cool. A version of Patch, a version that's tied up to like a cross, which I should also mention, Deadpool is referring to himself as Marvel Jesus is for this movie, but a Wolverine that's kind of tied to like an X cross, the Age of Apocalypse Wolverine, Old Man Logan Wolverine, an actual like accurate Old Man Logan Wolverine, with like the hats and like the actual like gray beard and everything. So there is that. So all kinds of versions of Wolverine Deadpool tries to find. He does find a version who is absolutely MC hammered at the bar. He's carried off by Deadpool. Well, they get him in the yellow and blue suit. It also took them 24 years to get Wolverine an actual Wolverine-esque suit. But it turns out Deadpool found not just any Wolverine, he found the worst Wolverine. This Wolverine apparently did some like pretty embarrassing, messed up stuff. And Wade does pretty much come to the conclusion that Mr. Paradox is acting without the knowledge of the superiors within the TVA, and so pretty much Paradox from there pretty much sends Wade and Logan, aka Deadpool Wolverine, to the Void. They fight a little bit. They fight a little bit in an admittedly pretty cool fight scene with Hell's Bells by AC/DC. Man, this movie is so cool, Wolverine is convinced by Deadpool that the TVA can change his timeline, undo everything he did. But eventually they are captured alongside a person who they think is Captain America at first, but it turns out to actually be Johnny Storm. And admittedly, it's pretty funny when Deadpool thinks that version of Captain America, because it does look a lot like Captain. It's Chris Evans, obviously, but you think it's gonna be Captain America, but then he says "flame on." It turns out it's Johnny Storm, which is pretty funny. But they are taken to Cassandra Nova, who is the twin sister of Charles Xavier. They were separated at birth. She kills Johnny Storm after Deadpool spouts some lies about what Johnny Storm said about her. So she kills Johnny. It's actually a pretty gruesome death. So the Human Torch is no more, or still somehow more dignified than how Reed died in Multiverse of Madness. But Wolverine and Deadpool are left to die by the Aelith, which Deadpool points out is from Loki season 1 on again, which I have not watched. And also, they have a giant dead version of Ant-Man, and so Deadpool says Scott that Paul Rudd finally aged, but nevertheless, they get out. They manage to escape the Void. They find a Deadpool variant called Nice Pool. Well, that's not the last Deadpool variant they're going to find, but and they also run into Dogpool. More so, Dogpool runs into them, and Deadpool is absolutely infatuated with Dogpool, but they take they take Nice Pool's car, or the Honda Odyssey. They take it, but Wade accidentally lets slip that he doesn't actually know if the TVA will fix Wolverine's timeline. And Wolverine, not only he is upset that Deadpool lied about him, but then verbally rips into Deadpool about how he'll never save anyone. He couldn't even save his relationship with Vanessa, because they did bond about that while they were trying to escape the Void, and pretty much just rips into Deadpool. Deadpool is silent and throughout the whole thing, which is shocking. But Deadpool, who says he didn't lie, he made an educated wish. They proceed to fight in the Honda Odyssey. They leave it all kinds of bloody. They're picked up by the resistance group that Nice Pool will mention earlier. Which consists of Elektra from the Daredevil movies from 2003, the ones that nobody liked. Then Blade, Wesley Snipes' Blade, and Gambit. This version portrayed by Channing Tatum, him, as well as a all grown up X-23. And Wade wants to team up with them to fight off Cassandra Nova, kind of to go out in the blaze of glory that they didn't quite get because they were cast aside in the Void. Logan at first doesn't want to go with them, but Laura kind of convinces him. Logan says, he's the wrong guy. He reveals why he he's so like disgraced in his universe, that being that he essentially left the X-Men to die in his universe. Didn't want to be a team player, so he left. Then the Sentinels came and killed off all the X-Men, and it's admittedly a pretty sad backstory. And you kind of do see why Logan feels guilt over what he had done, essentially. But but Wolverine says he's the wrong guy. But Laura tells him, you've always been the wrong guy until you were the right guy. Which it kind of has a point, like all that Logan had been through and everything up to this point. But but eventually they fight off Cassandra and her four horses. She is blocked at first. She's tricked. She goes into Wolverine's mind, but then she's tricked when Juggernaut's helmet is put over her head, and she is at first betrayed and left to die by Pyro. Oh yes, Pyro is in this movie, as is Toad, and the Juggernaut that I mentioned is not the cool big Juggernaut that we got in Deadpool 2. No, it's the anorexic Juggernaut from the X-Men universe. And eventually, Cassandra lets Deadpool and Wolverine return to their universe. She gets a sling ring that she found from a magician. Cool. So that means in this universe, Doctor Strange is canonically dead. But so I'm guessing Doctor Strange must not saw that in his multiverse. But comment below which version of Doctor Strange you think it was, because there were a lot in the Multiverse of Madness movie. But anyway, he generates the portal. They go through back to their universe. Or he asks Pyro why he betrayed him, and he reveals why. Because the TVA sent him, which we do see a conversation between Pyro and Mr. Paradox earlier. Her Pyro reveals that the TVA has the Time Ripper, and Pyro, with a funny scene, and of course Cassandra Nova's power is she runs her fingers through someone's head, and I'm not talking about their hair, I'm talking about their actual literal head. It's kind of gross. And Pyro says, you didn't have to do that, because that's how she peers into people's mind. He said, you didn't have to do that, you could just ask. You could have just asked. So she learns about the Time Ripper. She's going to take the Time Ripper to delete all timelines and to leave only the void. So Deadpool and Wolverine have to stop her. Cassandra sends an army of Deadpool variants, which consists of several, including Lady Deadpool. And I remember the build up to this. Everybody thought Lady Deadpool was going to be Ryan Reynolds under a mask. Lady Deadpool, unfortunately, does not remove her mask, so we don't quite know who it is. But man, wouldn't that have been something? If it was. I do want to see the actress who played Lady Deadpool. I think she is somewhere in here. That's what. Control F to the rescue. But Deadpool and Wolverine. Well, at first Deadpool gets Nicepool killed. Well, because he's shot up by the Deadpool variants. Before Deadpool learns that he doesn't have a heat. Before he realizes this version of Deadpool doesn't have a healing factor. Okay, I cannot find the actress who played Lady Deadpool. It's probably somewhere in there. I just gotta look for it. But let me try Deadpool. Let me try just Deadpool. Or actually, I'll try to find it later. But nevertheless, as Wolverine and Deadpool do slash through all the versions of Deadpool, but those Deadpools happen to have healing factors. But it was still a fun scene regardless. And Logan did get to slice through someone he considers very, very annoying, in the form of Deadpool. But they are swayed away by Peter, who shows up. And it turns out every Deadpool has a version of Peter. So Peter ends up being the good guy after all. They make their way to where the Time Ripper is. Paradox tells them that if one of them could destroy the Time Ripper, or by disrupting the power flow, it would kill them, even with their healing powers. So they kind of debate who is going to destroy the Time Ripper. It's they kind of have a little emotional scene there. Deadpool also goes in, he tricks Wolverine and locks him out of where the Time Ripper power source is, and Wolverine does eventually find his way in, and they destroy it together. It surges through both of them, and because of that, they end up surviving. So friendship wins in the end, after all. At first, Mr. Paradox is confused, but then they tell them, like, you said one of us would die if we destroyed it. So both of us destroyed it, essentially. He is worth also mentioning, Wolverine does have his cowl before they slice through the Deadpool's, and he does lose his sleeve. I'm sure, and little fanboy me inside, I don't know about everybody else, but fanboy me inside was squealing when that happened. But Paradox is arrested by Hunter B-15 of the TVA. Wade and Logan are congratulated. Wade asks, like, can you first of all, he asks if they can save the resistance group from the void. If they hadn't died yet, it's their fate's kind of left unknown. But he also asks if they can change history for Wolverine's world. But Hunter B-15 says pretty much that what Wolverine had went through allowed him to save the world today. So there's nothing that necessarily needs to be done, which I guess is a fancy way of saying no, we can't do that. But also, yeah, fair point. But Logan hangs out with the gang, and Logan pretty much tells Wade, hey, reconcile with Vanessa. Wolverine essentially becomes part of the friend group. So that is the movie. In terms of what I liked and didn't like, what I liked is that they kept the essence of what made the other Deadpool movies a lot of fun in the Fox universe and carried over to Disney, and you can tell they did give a lot of leeway when it comes to who Deadpool and his character and the jokes he could make. Like an R-rated Disney movie is pretty rare. It has happened before, but I am glad that they allowed Deadpool to have the R rating. A lot of people speculated when this movie was coming out, when it was announced and everything, whether or not it would be PG-13. Would they give Deadpool the R rating? Would they let him go all out? Would they let him go full force? There's a lot of people came up with some creative ways to get around the PG-13, like Deadpool accidentally using the one or two F words that you're allowed for like PG-13 movies. But ultimately, I am glad they gave him the R rating, and I do like how it still was within the essence. I'll get to that. I was about to make a point, but I'll get to that in my kind of dislikes. The dynamic between Deadpool and Wolverine, how their relationship evolves and everything. Obviously, Wolverine is very annoyed with Deadpool, so it's pretty accurate. And Wolverine's costume, like having a more comic accurate Wolverine look, I'm sure a lot of people were kind of concerned about how it would look, but it still does look pretty cool for the most part. And we see this Wolverine, his backstory and everything. It doesn't totally they do it without totally retconning the established lore for Wolverine, because this is technically a different Wolverine, and so they kind of get to have their cake and eat it as well. There's a lot of funny moments throughout the movie, including Johnny Storm, which at the end Deadpool pretty much reveals that Johnny Storm did say all those things about Cassandra Nova. But my thing is and I guess it's supposed to be more comedic and everything, that Johnny Storm essentially said all those things and things that Deadpool said that he said, even though Wolverine talked about Deadpool pretty much got him killed. Because we're supposed to believe, Deadpool actually said those things and blamed it on Johnny. But with Johnny saying those things, Wolverine was there. He was awake. How did he not remember that Johnny said those things? But his involvement, even though it was minor, it was still pretty funny. And it does have a kind of behind the scenes kind of film reel from like the X-Men movies and the Fantastic Four movies as well, along with Time of Your Life by Green Day. So that was pretty cool. Nice little during the credits thing there, and this movie, and that's really the series. that's really the kind of theme throughout the Deadpool series. It's all about redemption. It redeemed Wolverine's kind of outfit, him not having the comic accurate outfit, although. Oh, by this point, Wolverine had been established, so we didn't really care. But it was nice that they gave it to him. The anorexic, skinny Juggernaut. And that's not to make fun of people who have anorexia and everything, but the very skinny Juggernaut kind of gets his redemption. The characters who are kind of forgotten in like the kind of quote unquote bad movies, even though Blade wasn't necessarily bad movies, just it's kind of forgotten, and I think. And they get redeemed. Gambit, in a way, gets redeemed because he was supposed to have a solo movie, and that didn't really pan out. And I think Channing Tatum did really, really well as Gambit, and I would like to see him more in the MCU. I want to see more of what he does in the MCU, so that gets redeemed. Deadpool's universe, the Fox universe, gets kind of redeemed. So all about redemption and everything, and which is cool to see in the movie. It's a movie that has quite a bit of heart. It has a little bit of everything. It has some funny moments. It has some action. It has some heart. Or so all kinds of great stuff. It has kind of a little bit of everything that makes it come together. Now, now a lot of people. One of the criticisms a lot of people had is that this movie isn't quite as crass. They wanted a lot more of like the dirty jokes and everything that we had gotten to with the previous Deadpool movie. And admittedly, yeah, it is kind of toned down a little bit. I imagine they kind of did, but at the same time, I think the other aspects really balance it out. Plus, Deadpool still makes plenty. He makes plenty of his usual jokes and everything. Even taking stabs at Disney. Like I said, they definitely gave him some extra leeway here. And Deadpool even calls out like the MCU's kind of failure of a multiverse saga in a lot of ways. At least a lot of people feel. Like I said, I can't comment on it too much because I'm admittedly still behind in like the multiverse saga, but the fact that Deadpool kind of goes there and kind of calls that out, like, hey, there's still plenty of Deadpool in here. Now, that's what I didn't quite like about the movie. This one is not going to fully, kind of my previous point, but it's worth mentioning. This movie does kind of have MCU fingerprints on it. Like, you can tell there is some of that MCU residue on this one. You can tell things are a little bit different. Not necessarily in a totally bad way. It's still a really great movie and still drew a hell of a lot at the box office, but you can tell things are a little bit different. Like this does definitely feel it feels like a Deadpool movie, but it also does kind of feel MCU in a way. In a way, I guess it does tie things together, which is nice, but it does kind of have the MCU fingerprints on it quite a bit. It's not too much to where it makes the movie bad, but once you notice it's there, you can't really unnotice it. And kind of the dynamic of like Deadpool and his friendship group, how they kind of take a backseat and everything. It is mainly Deadpool Wolverine. It's kind of like right along buddy cop in a way movie. But the fact that they're kind of just in the beginning, don't really play a factor until the end, and that does kind of suck. Like, we don't even get Cable this time around. Having an interaction between Cable and Wolverine in like two X-Men X adjacent, I guess, in a way, members interacting would have been cool, but you can tell also the idea of the multiverse does take precedent, and that kind of ties into my earlier point about this feeling like an MCU movie in the multiverse saga. The MCU part's kind of taking precedent. I think it's cool. It works, but I would have liked to seen a little bit more of what was already established in Deadpool canon. Like, I want to see a little bit more or of some of his friends, not just there at the beginning then there at the end. And I know it's mainly about Deadpool Wolverine, so it may be kind of a moot point perhaps, and if so, that's totally fine. But nevertheless, still a really awesome, enjoyable movie, and one I definitely recommend. But in the meantime, that is going to do it for this review. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please do me a favor: like, comment, subscribe, share with your friends, and turn on post notifications so you know every time I upload a review, so you can see it as soon as it drops. And let me know in the comments below your thoughts on Deadpool Wolverine, my review. Did you like Deadpool Wolverine? Did you like my review of Deadpool Wolverine? Let me know. Thank you all so much for watching. I will see you guys later. Peace.